making lasagna. You know that makes me happy.
I just made it last week and it gives me joy.
It does, any way you make it. It's fabulous.
What is it about it?
The ultimate comfort food. It is.
And I think it reminds you of home and like.
Yeah, and I have a friend who asked me to make her some lasagna, and she asked me for a white one. And I thought, that's going to be fun.
Had you ever made that kind before?
I've made, I guess, let's see, pasticcio is similar because it uses a bechamel sauce, basically, instead of a tomato sauce. Yeah. So it's not that different, but she decided she didn't want any meat in it. Normally, I would probably use shredded chicken or something in a white one. But it's not that she's vegetarian. So I'm going to use chicken stock. But if you wanted to just be straight out veg, you could just use vegetable broth. Yay. Hi.
My go-to for the bechamel kind is in Deborah Madison's book, Vegetarian Cooking for Everyone. She has a killer mushroom bechamel one. But I'm really interested in what you're doing today. You're going to put spinach in it, and you're making it really filled with a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, so I got this idea. And she knew when she said to me, I have a project for you, that I was going to come up with something. I love dried mushrooms. I use them a lot when I'm doing Asian cooking. I usually rehydrate them and put them in soups and stir fries and stuff like that. And I thought, what if I take those mushrooms and put them in the blender and powder them and add that to the bechamel sauce so it beefs it up a little, because she didn't want a lot of cheese, because normally the way I think I would spike it is to use a bunch of different cheeses.
Right.
But I'm not going to do that because she doesn't want that. And I thought, well, I just don't want it to be plain old white. So
really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's an experiment.
What kind of mushrooms?
Well, they're I think they're shiitake. I'm not sure. They just said dried mushrooms.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
These mushrooms are not something.
Hey, she may really like this lasagna.
She's like, Debrianna!
What did you put in the lasagna?
These mushrooms are amazing!
So, yeah, they're mushrooms, but I don't know if they're all shiitake.
Well, ... We'll find out, right?
So I stuck them in a blender, and I made them into a powder. Look.
Okay.
And they smell really good. So that's going to be beefing up the flavor of the bechamel sauce.
Someone's saying, I want some of that lasagna.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Mushroom lasagna.
Okay, so I did a lot of prep before you guys got here. I cut regular mushrooms, creminis, into cubes, and I sauteed those in some ghee until they released all their moisture, because I didn't want too much to, first of all, that always boosts up the flavor. But I also didn't want them to be releasing an unexplained amount of moisture. I want to be in control of how much moisture I'm adding to the lasagna.
Okay.
So
vodka would be good too.
Well, I'm using white wine. And then I roasted all the vegetables, because vegetables roasted taste much better.
For sure.
So that's the tray of zucchini. I summer squash and zucchini, and you know, I've done that before on the show, so I spared you all the possibility that I might cut myself.
if you want a really funny episode, if you cut out, no pun intended, cut out the part where Debrianna cuts her finger.
Woo, she's really
One of
tired.
our episodes, it's on YouTube, and it was the veggie lasagna episode.
Yeah, roasted veggie lasagna.
It was a good one.
It was fun. Yeah, so I spared you that, and I did that ahead of time. And I also, in my life, I have squeezed a lot of spinach, frozen spinach, a lot. So I cheated a little bit this time because when you thaw frozen spinach out and then you squeeze it to get all the moisture out, it is so cold on your hands. So after I sauteed the mushrooms, I put the bag of frozen spinach in the same pan and I evaporated the moisture out. And that's another way to get the liquid out. At least most of it. And then at least it's warm when you squeeze the rest of it.
Yeah, it's like on your joint. It
was the bane of my existence as a kid. Believe me. I can't tell you. Tons of frozen spinach passed through these hands. Anyway, so that's the spinach. That's all dried out. And that's one bag.
You did. Okay. Yeah. That looks good.
Okay. Yeah, it's one bag. So to that spinach, I already chopped 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to add a clove of garlic, so about half the garlic, into that spinach.
Oh, and what's that funny wooden spoon?
Oh, it's a shoe.
Hi, David. How's it going?
Look at my shoe spoon.
Shoe spoon.
It's kind of like a Cinderella spoon.
Oh, my God. So I have a couple of those. I love them. They really, you can hold them really well. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil. And so I also salted this spinach just to taste.
Kelly says, cut fingers does not a vegan dish make. No,
that is a true story,
Cal.
Cal.
That would make it a meat lasagna.
Oh, and I think that's what they're trying to avoid because what is it? I do have eyes. Okay, so that's the spinach that's going to go in the lasagna. Now, to me, I want to flavor every component. So the roasted vegetables are salted. I could have put garlic on them. I didn't. I didn't want to over garlic my friend, but if it were for me, I probably would have done that. Okay. And then I sauteed the mushrooms in some ghee, and this is what 8 ounces of mushrooms reduced to. Once all the water was out.
Amazing how they shrink.
Yep, and those are also salted to taste. And let's see, what do I want to do next? I squeeze the spinach. Oh, I want to flavor the ricotta, which is going to go in there. Now, I'm going to cheat, well, what would be in my family cheating. And I'm going to use the no-boil lasagna noodles. No boiling, oven ready. Oh, I love this.
That is a real shortcut. I did not do that last week. I boiled them and hurt my fingers. Labor of love for friends, but oh well.
And it's oh my God, I remember lasagna noodles like flipping all over the place. Yeah, no, I don't do that. I like those no boil ones. The thing is, when you're doing it in a lasagna, you have to make sure you have enough moisture because they soak up the moisture. So in the ricotta, which you can see like it's kind of thick, one of the places I'm going to add some moisture is there, and I'm going to add about a half a cup of milk to that just to.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's something I've never done that.
Well, you wouldn't have to if you had noodles that were already cooked, but I want to add a little bit of moisture to this. And then I'm going to add about a quarter of a cup of chopped parsley, fresh parsley. Mm-hmm. And if I had, if it was summer and I had fresh basil, I would have gotten that too, but I forgot to buy some. So And I don't have any yet in my garden.
Yeah, I think that's a really good note for people is how many times, I mean, I could probably say with 100% accuracy and certainty that every lasagna I've ever had at anyone's house, they've never flavored their ricotta. I mean, unless you're Italian, I swear.
Yeah.
Americans don't do it. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah. I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of white pepper to that.
It's a huge difference. It makes such a difference.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah, flavoring every layer. It's important. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is make the bechamel.
Mmm.
In my beautiful pan that my friend Mark gave me. Look at how pretty that is.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Cashew likes it. He's saying so. So in that pan, I'm going to melt a half a cup of butter.
That's the basis of bechamel.
Yeah. Butter and milk. Basically, it's butter and milk, but I'm adding white wine to it. So I'm going to want to add, hi, Mom.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
I was like, how are you holding the camera and the cat at the same time?
He's my baby. So I want a cup and a half of milk. I'm going to add that. And any leftover milk, yeah, I want to add into my ricotta because I really want that a little bit more soupy.
So it's not a vegan lasagna. It's a vegetarian lasagna.
It's a vegetarian lasagna, but, you know, if you wanted it vegan, I don't know, I have to say this. I've never made a bechamel with vegan butter, but I assume you can do it.
Yeah, and like a cashew,
please
like
inform
a
me.
cashew milk or something, or some kind of nut milk.
Yeah, yep. And so I haven't done that. What else? You can't use regular cheese, right? If it's vegan. If it's vegetarian, you can do everything I'm doing.
Said this was vegan, okay? We had no vegan advertising. No. Vegetarian.
Yeah, so if you want vegetarian, just the only thing you need to do from this whole recipe is use vegetable stock. And I'm going to tell you, I always use better than bouillon roasted vegetable stock. It is the best.
I just ran out of my like 14 tons of it that I had.
Oh, you should have told me I was at Costco. I would have picked you up some. Oh, actually, they were out of the vegetable today.
Yeah, I have to get some.
I just ran out. Yeah. And they used to have an organic mushroom base. That was.
What happened to that?
I don't know, but I'm onto mushroom powder now, so whatever. All right, so the butter's melted. I'm going to add in here, a half a cup of flour, white flour, and I'm going to add some salt to that. I didn't do that. About a teaspoon of salt, which I did not do, but I'm going to do that now. In my mise en place.
You're actually prepared.
And I'm going to turn this down a little bit. All right, and this is how I like to do it, with the whisk.
You have to whisk it. You have to whisk it.
Yeah, you have to whisk it or it gets lumpy. So I'm going to add that and let that cook for a few minutes. And what happens is when you cook it, it gets that flour taste off.
Right.
You're actually cooking the flour so it doesn't have that kind of pasty taste.
Right. Someone's asking, powdered mushrooms, is that like powdered donuts?
Yes, just like it.
Oh, yeah. I think. Why not?
It's just like it.
So I'm going to heat this until it starts kind of bubbling. And then I'm going to slowly add my liquid ingredients.
Okay.
And that would be a cup and a half of milk, a half a cup of white wine, and I think that's, and 1.5 cups of chicken stock. Or if you're going to do it vegetarian, just use vegetable.
Okay.
So this is starting to bubble. And I'm going to let that bubble for a few minutes.
I'm trying not to sneeze right now. I've just took my
Are you?
allergy medicine.
Oh,
It's
I'm sorry.
raging pollen here. I don't know about any of you out there across
Oh God, it's just
the
horrible.
world, but here it was a really hard day for people with allergies.
Yeah, it really is. All right, so I'm going to put this is the white wine and a half a cup of white wine and a cup and a half of milk in here.
Okay.
And just pour it in slowly and whisk it around. And that'll keep you from it being lumpy.
Okay. So I think it's the same person. I'm going to guess that it's Peggy. Says, why powdered mushrooms instead of just cut up?
Instead of what?
Just cut up. Just cut up.
Powdering both.
Ah, because you want the extra layer, right? Of flavor. Okay,
Correct.
that's why Peggy probably.
That's it. And we're going to add my teaspoon of mushroom powder to this before I add the rest of it. And this smells so good. I can't tell you. It's going to add a level of flavor that's just
not Peggy. I got the face palm, not Peggy.
I love that emoji. It's so useful.
It's so useful. I apologize. I'm on antihistamines. And we're talking about mushrooms.
I forgot. Oh well. What I wanted to do before I did that was add the shallot to it. So I may have to go backwards and add that in.
Is that Patricia Sprout?
It might be. Strout?
It must be.
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay, so we can repair this little error by
Sprout, not Sprout. She wrote Sprout, but it's Sprout. Sorry. Oh my God.
What's that like? Which one?
Hi, you're doing well.
Okay, so what this is doing is thickening.
Yes.
And now I'm going to add the chicken stock. And I'm going to let that kind of cook for a few minutes.
Did you put wine in it?
What?
Did you put wine in it?
Yep, I put a half a cup of white wine, a cup and a half of milk, and a cup and a half of chicken stock.
Mm.
And now I'm going to cook up these shallots. I could have done that before, but I did not.
You had them chopped up. That counts for something.
Thank you. I'm just going to cook those up.
I'll give you brownie points.
Oh, I was upset today, I have to say. My Costco that I love so much was out of ghee. No. That was sad.
Out of ghee. When I went to the market 2 days ago, they were out of flour. I always panic when there's no flour.
Oh, I know. Oh, you know what I did today? Because I was panicked that there wouldn't be because this war in Ukraine. Ukraine's a bread basket. I don't think we get our wheat from there, but just in case, because I'm that girl, I bought flour today. So if you want some, I have it.
Okay.
I thought, I'm not, and I'm wondering if the cost of groceries is going to go up, and it probably is.
Oh, it had.
I think it may go up higher, so I bought extra flour.
What did I just buy that was insane? Well, the cost of butter is crazy right now. Have you noticed?
Butter, eggs, there's a bird flu. Who knew?
Is there a bird flu? Okay, well, I didn't know that. But
yeah, there's a bird flu.
I mean, butter's like $8.99. I
know, it's ridiculous. I did buy vegan butter today. This first time I saw it at Costco. And that Miyoko's is so good.
Yeah.
So they use a cashew butter. And I know I'm not vegan, but the taste of that butter, I just love.
You swear by that one.
I do. I love it. So this is starting to get thick. I want it to heat a little more. I can feel it though with my whisk that it's getting thick. And then we're just going to layer the lasagna. It's not hard.
It's just assembly. It's assembly. It takes a long time, but it's worth it.
Yep. So I'm going to taste that. It's mushroomy. How about that? Because I think I want to add some white pepper to it.
Yum. That sounds so good.
And then I'm going to throw in the shallots. I did two large shallots I chopped up. Oh, this is thickening very nicely. And I'm going to use Gruyere cheese. I am not a huge fan of mozzarella, this Italian girl.
Really?
On the inside. I prefer it on the tops of things because when it crisps, that's when it has the best flavor.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can see it. This is getting thick.
I don't put the mozzarella in the middle either. I only put it on the top. I put the ricotta in the middle. Yeah,
ricotta, and you can use other cheese. Okay, so in this bechamel, I am going to make this a cheesy one. A not so cheesy one. So I'm not going to add like 4 cups of cheese. You could add, I think, 2 actually to this and be safe.
Yeah, I think you're doing the vegetables. The mozzarella isn't the cheese. I think you're making the right move of doing a different type of cheese because it's just not. You don't have the tomato sauce. You know what I mean?
Right. So that was 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add 1.5 cups of shredded Gruyere to this. And so this is becoming, now it's becoming a cheesy bechamel sauce.
It's kind of like fondue.
Yeah, I guess it is, huh? Kind of. Do you add flour to fondue?
No, but
it is
flavor of the melted Gruyere, and it's you're complementing the vegetables. You know, it's not, you're not doing the mozzarella classic with tomato sauce and basil flavor.
Yeah. So this, as soon as these shallots are done with the garlic, I have 1 clove of garlic and 2 chopped shallots. I'm gonna cook them up a little bit so they're just till they're kind of translucent. Now, honestly, you could use an onion. I personally think shallots have a little sweeter taste and they're not as sharp as an onion. So that's my preference.
I really like what you're doing with this. It's a more, little more sophisticated, you know, flavor. You're kind of heightening the rustica. It's not your classic, you know, thick lasagna.
Yeah. That was my task. I was like, how am I going to make this taste like at every level a little bit more than just a white lasagna?
Right.
And I know they used to make like, I don't know, did you ever have the roasted squash, butternut squash lasagna they made at Whole Foods before Whole Foods got taken up by Amazon and all their food went to hell?
You know, I don't think I ever had that.
I had it a couple times, and it was just, they didn't really roast the squash, so it didn't have that caramelized sweet flavor. It was just mushy. And I don't think they really up-leveled the bechamel, so it was just sort of pasty. And sorry if anybody out there is the person who was making it.
Well, think about how infinite the possibilities are with lasagna. It's kind of, you when you think about what the possibilities are with pasta, you've got layers of pasta. Don't you want to make it taste really interesting, you know?
Yeah. So I just added the shallots and the garlic to this. And if you have the already cooked noodles, You could cook this a little more till it got really thick. But like I said, I want a little more extra moisture throughout the whole thing, so that the noodles absorb it.
That makes sense.
And to this, I'm going to add all of these mushrooms
Mm.
that I already cooked.
So you're putting the mushrooms in the sauce.
Yeah, I decided that would be, I mean, otherwise you're kind of just layering little baby mushrooms through the whole thing. I thought this would really flavor the sauce a lot and make it super tasty.
That's going to be delicious.
I think it is. I'm gonna have to ask Karen to send me a piece because I am not eating it. I'm just making it. Okay, so the oven's on 350. I have a 9 by 13 pan. I'm gonna ladle some of the bechamel, the mushroom bechamel sauce, into the bottom of the pan.
I always put the liquid on the pan too first.
Yeah, the sauce. So like even if I had cooked noodles, I would still do this.
Mm-hmm.
But because I don't, I'm gonna make sure there's liquid on the bottom. So usually what I do when I don't use the boil noodles, so this is really liquidy now because I added, I think, a whole half cup of milk to this. And this is a whole container of, like one of these little half sizes.
Of ricotta, like a size of sour cream.
Yeah. And I have these noodles. So what I like to do with them is dip them in the ricotta.
Oh, wow. I would have never thought of that.
And then that way it's got some liquid on both sides. And then I'm going to put it in the pan.
That's a great idea. Oh, my God.
I think it's going to be tasty. And I'm using my handy dandy, this spatula.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one.
I use that one so much.
Oh, I love it. I got that set on Amazon of the, I think there were like 12 of them, right?
There are so many, and they're all really helpful, especially the tiny ones when you have the last shred of expensive face cream and you can't get to it.
It is so amazing to get that out, like especially if you have those the containers you squeeze. There's so much left at the bottom.
And those things really help you get it out beyond food.
All right, so now on the side, they don't quite fit, so I'm going to cut my noodle in half and use a half noodle. It's a half Nelson on the side.
Or you could say I'm only using half my noodle.
I'm half, yeah. Well, some people, their half noodle is better than some people's full noodle.
Good point.
And so for this one, I'm only doing a top and bottom layer, I think. I might do one in the middle, but I'm reducing the amount of noodles you need by layering the vegetables in between. So there's that. All right, so now I'm just going to add a little tiny bit more ricotta on the top. Make sure I cover those spaces. Then I'm going to layer in my vegetables right on top of that. So they're not like cooked hard. They've just got like a light brown on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have zucchini and summer squash going in.
How long do you cook it for at 350?
About 40 minutes.
Okay.
35, 40 minutes, something like that. And then, you know, the noodles are tender, basically. Then,
Someone's saying, so this is not 7-layer lasagna. No.
no, it's not. I'm going to add some bechamel on top of that, top of the veggies. Now, if you really wanted this cheesy, now would be the time where you would add some cheese. You know, shredded cheese if you wanted. And you definitely could do that now. She didn't want it so cheesy, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut the cheese down some. And then I'm going to add my layer of spinach.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be yummy.
The other thing to remember is lasagna sinks as it cooks. You know, that's all going to go down as the vegetables cook and everything.
Yeah. Well, also it's pre-cooked, so it's not going to shrink as much as if they were raw.
True.
They're going to taste a lot better.
That's true.
Pre-cooked than just raw in here. Okay, so that's my layer of spinach. And then I'm going to do a noodle layer. And just coat them. And then, you know, you could do, it depends on, like you could make this 7-layer if you wanted.
I mean, if you had a deep enough pan, you could.
Yeah. Just keep going until you run out. The thing you want to do for me is you want to have the noodle layer on the top. I like the noodle layer on the top and the bottom because it just helps you cut the lasagna better.
Yes. Structurally, it is more sound if you do it that way.
Yeah, this is like a structure.
You're building a lasagna.
I'm an architect of my own lasagna.
You are.
Now, these pans always kind of go down, like they angle down. So on the bottom layer, you need to like cut the noodles and kind of make them fit. And on the top, they seem to fit 3 across. So I didn't need to do that. You know, kind of architectural design on the bottom.
Why does it do it that way? I don't know.
I don't know. If me and you were in charge of designing pans, we would not do it thus. That's what I say. Okay, I think I'm almost there.
That's gonna be, you know, you just totally blew my mind with coating the lasagna in the ricotta that way.
Well, if your noodles were cooked, you couldn't do it this way. You just, you know, put the lasagna.
But next time I do the pre-done noodles, I will do that.
Yeah, it helps soften them. Now you're sure that you've got moisture on there.
Yeah.
Here, I'll just use these.
Just when you think you know everything about something, you do not. There's a life lesson. There's a lesson.
Isn't it so nice? All right, so I think those are my layers. And I've used pretty much all the ricotta. I'm going to go ahead and just pour the rest of it on.
Wow.
And then I'll use the bechamel on the top of that. Here, I think there's only like a tablespoon left. It's just a little bit.
When I do my mozzarella on the top, I like to do Parmesan on top of it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do burrata on the top.
Ah.
So I do have that coming up.
Okay.
So that was 1 bag of spinach. If you wanted to do like more layers of this, I would do 2 bags of spinach and maybe a couple more vegetables and go up another layer.
Did you use all the lasagna noodles?
Yeah, I don't know how many I used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The whole pack? Was it that the
No,
whole
it wasn't the whole pack. That pack was. I have open packs of lasagna noodles because, of course, I do. Also, Cashew loves the pasta drawer.
Aww.
So when I'm not home, he goes in there and has a pasta party.
Does he eat it?
No, he just gets.
He crunches
Well, I
on
mean,
it.
he has crunched it.
He likes to play with it.
It's hysterical. I had a house sitter, and she was sitting in the living room, and she heard this. She's like, "What's going on?" And she came in the kitchen. He had pasta all over the place.
The pasta crunching cat.
Yes, the pasta crunching. Okay, so now you can see my lasagna has the bechamel on the top and whatever was left of the ricotta, and I'm going to add this burrata to the top.
Mmm.
These little mozzarella balls.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So you have to use fresh, people. You
Oh, yeah.
You gotta use fresh. It's a big difference.
Yeah. And this it's just so, this is so creamy and cheesy. That's why it's nice on the top.
Yeah.
More than in the middle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The Gruyere just has more flavor. So
delightful.
I think so. I hope she likes it.
Coming in for a moon landing.
That's what it's like. Oh, somebody said you really need to stop blaming poor Cashew.
Oh, well. Okay. I did it.
Bravo, you built lasagna on.
I did. So this is going to go in the oven for about 40 minutes.
Not covered.
Not covered, just in there. And there you have it. It's done.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So somebody should try it and let me know how they like it.
Somebody make it.
Somebody will make it. Make my recipe.
It's really nice when you don't have to make the lasagna part. That's such a drag.
Yeah, but you mean the noodles? Yeah, no, they are. I just remember that being such a pain when I was a kid too, because you have to cook the noodles till they're kind of, cooked all the way, but not too hard, and then not too soft. I mean, then you dip them in the cold water so they stop cooking. Then you're like, you have all these noodles all over the place. It's really a project to do it that way. These no-boil noodles are amazing.
I just did it last week, and it took me 5 hours to make lasagna.
And then you don't want the pasta sticking to itself, and it's crazy. It's amazing what people did before there were these wild inventions.
And phyllo dough. Oh my God.
Right? Oh my God. We have that story of Lisa trying to write that recipe.
It's in the cookbook. We tell the story, but yeah, my ancestors made their own phyllo dough and rolled it with a broomstick handle. Yeah, and it didn't work out for me. I used the store-bought one.
Yeah. Well, I have no shame. I'll use, if you can find a good store-bought one, do it.
It's really okay. It's okay. Just do it. It's fine. It's okay.
I'm going to show you some stuff down here. That's our Instagram account.
Yeah,
and
we're getting up there.
Yeah, and these are some groups you can join because we need to win more Democrats so we can actually get some more stuff done. That really helps people instead of blocking it all.
People need help right now. People really need help right now.
Yeah. And if you're just a kind of person who doesn't like make phone calls or write postcards, that's great. Here's a way you can give money. If you want to give money to these guys, they monitor races all around the country and they move the money toward the races that they think will make the most difference so that it's not lopsided in a candidate who's popular and then you like give a ton of money to them. And there's races that we could be winning, but we just don't know about them.
Just spreads the wealth. Spreads the wealth to help everyone.
In a smart way. In a smart way. Yeah. So there you go. That's our story, people.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here with us.
Yeah. And next week, we're going to try and plan a field trip. We'll see if that works out. Well, otherwise Lisa's cooking.
We're going to try to do cook field trip, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can still order copies of our cookbook, That Time We Ate Our Feelings, on Amazon or bookshop.org or Barnes & Noble. And it will be out in November.
Yes. Come hell or high water.
I know. We have to write every copy individually. That's what's going to happen, people.
It'll be worth it. We swear.
You know, COVID's taken a toll on everybody. I just got my 4th booster. David got his today. And I actually had no reaction. So go get your booster as soon as you can.
I'm getting in line for mine.
Yeah, everybody be safe. Thanks.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, and do what you can to help Ukraine.